Welcome to the Crannog cast. I am back today with Rachel, who is our assistant director, and Amy, who is our new curator. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about the collection itself and the direction that we're going to go with it. So we've got a decent sized collection, I'd say, which we're sat around right now. We're in the museum itself. This is our studio. So I'm going to start by asking Rachel, how did we get the collection?
Good question. The collection has come from an excavation on Loch Tay, which was ongoing from, I'm not sure when it started. Do you know the first dates from the earliest bags?
79, 80? I feel like
80. Yeah. So it was a seasonal thing, so they were diving on the site. It was the first crannog to be excavated through scuba, so underwater. And they were basically excavating a crannog that had been identified through a PhD survey that had been done. So there's 17 or 18, depending who you talk to, crannogs on Loch Tay, and they identified Oakbank Crannog as having a ceiling of stones over the top of it that was protecting most of the archaeology. So then they were able to go through that, and they were getting a lot of wood straight away. They've done 7, I think the, what's it called, the thingy on water, something on water survey. There's a survey, birds on water. There's a survey been done in the past few years, and they surveyed 7 of the crannogs on the loch after however many 40 years later, and they were looking at trying to get a radiocarbon date for each crannog to see how they all relate to Oakbank Crannog. And those sites, they were getting down to wood, some of them fairly quickly, and some of them they weren't getting to wood at all. So crannogs can vary quite a lot in what survives and how accessible they are. So most of the pieces in the museum are from Oakbank Crannog, which is on Loch Tay. Some of the pieces are from Dunvaravat, like the pottery, which we've talked about before on the podcast. And that's a crannog on Lewis. But it's also done on Lewis. So it's very confusing.
For our viewers and myself, I might struggle with the terminology. Crannog versus done.
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's different. It's basically almost different terminologies. Like people have identified it as one thing, but then other people could identify it as another thing, and they're very similar. I mean, Amy, you might know more, but I find them quite complicated.
Yeah, me too.
We'll have to get some crannog super duper specialist PhD person on this topic.
I feel like John refers to the building structure.
Yeah. So on land or something, it's raised up.
Stone, isn't it? Like a stone tower.
Yeah.
And then a crannog means on the water.
But that's a broch. A stone tower is a broch.
Oh.
Yeah, see, this is why.
Yeah, it's confusing.
That's
There's I'm looking at the picture of Dunvaravat on the wall over there, which viewers can't see.
Just behind the camera there.
So I was going to have to put a little clip in. But it's I think, I don't know, if you think about what you're saying about being on land, it's raised up, but then some crannogs can be on an island out of the water. Yep. So it's,
Whereas ours is on stilts.
Yes.
I think
definitely a crannog.
Yeah. For now. For now.
Yeah.
Dunvaravat, I think, is on a little artificial stone island.
Yes.
Is the main.
But then there's underwater layers, and there's a context external.
It's just the main building's not underwater, but then the annex. It's even more confusing.
That's a topic for another time, I think.
We've gone quite off topic. That's how we got the Crannog Centre collection.
So, Amy, what sort of artefacts do we have in our collection?
Oh, so many. We have a lot from. So it tells us it was a house, which is really exciting. We have loads of cooking utensils, pots, plates, things like that we know they were living on this site. A lot that shows us they were farming as well. So we found 167 types on the crannog, which is amazing. So we have a pretty good idea about what they were eating, what they were farming. Cowpat, which is always a favourite object.
Star object, really.
Sheep droppings.
Droppings, all that good stuff. But But then we also have a really nice metalworking case. We have a piece of textile, which is really amazing. A lyre bridge. So we've got loads and loads of different pieces that tell us how they were living. So it's a really nice collection.
What really stands out to me about this collection is that so much of it is wood as well, and archaeologically speaking, that normally just doesn't survive.
Yes.
And so we're very, very lucky here that the bottom of a loch is a pretty good sort of set of conditions.
Yes. No, we were really lucky in that sense. I like the timbers, especially the upright stilts from the water, because a lot of the time in archaeological sites you find post holes.
Yes, I was just thinking that, yeah.
And that's all it is, it's just where a post was, whereas we have actual posts.
And the
actual
posts.
posts.
Really cool.
Don't get excited about changing colour of soil. Get excited about having the actual wood with axe marks. Like, that's cool.
Yes.
So as a curator, what does that mean? What do you do here?
So I look after the collection, so I make sure it stays stable, I guess. So a lot of the time archaeological objects just fall apart because they're really old. So it's, taking care of them, making sure they're not going to fall apart, putting them on display, so getting them out, creating display cases, different exhibitions, things like that, and then also researching as well. So researching what the collection means and like what we can tell, what stories we can tell with it.
And you've been doing a lot of research with like external groups and community groups
Yes,
and
which is
involving
really
lots of
nice.
people, so it's been a good process.
Yeah, especially the pottery project just now. Lots of good research going on there. We're getting a replica pot made, which is really exciting.
That's exciting,
Yes, yeah.
Hopefully some lipid analysis.
Oh yeah, fingers
We'll find
crossed.
out.
That'd be nice.
Yep, so that'll tell us what kind of foods they're cooking in the pot, which is really exciting.
I think one of the ideas from the lipid analysis on the application I was reading, it saying we're going to make it will give us the basis of a crannog stew that we'll be able to make every day. And I'm thinking, if it's venison,
Maybe not.
we're going to need a big cooking budget. So, I don't know. We'll have to see. It might be like once a year, a big pot and a whole deer
For events.
for events.
Have to go hunting ourselves.
Yeah, we're sending Ralph and Toby off up the hill with bows and arrows.
Properly take ourselves back to the act.
Yeah, I was gonna say. You just see Daisy stalking through the woods.
Little flint knife.
Make her a flint arrow.
We got one.
Yeah.
She just borrow the collection. Yes.
Are people allowed to borrow the collection if I did want to
Um,
try and cut something with something that I found in a case?
well,
As curator,
Say no.
what's the
No.
rules on that?
so we do get a lot of requests for people coming in to research things, which is really nice. So they'll come up for a day. They won't necessarily borrow the collection, but they'll come up. I can get stuff out of cases. They can have a look at it. I have a student coming up soon in April who wants to have a look at our metalworking collection, which is really exciting. So I'm not sure what her plan is around that yet, but I know there's some tests she wants to do on them, which is good. But we'll discuss that. But yeah, we get a lot of research. Loaning, not so much.
But you are allowed
Cutting
to
things out.
handle
Yes.
the artifact. I'm guessing
Yes.
there's rules around that as well.
Yes, quite a few. They are very delicate, so you do have to be careful. Wear gloves. Make sure you have the right surface to put them on, things like that. So yeah, it's much better if they do it anywhere.
Rather than take it out
Yes,
into the woods
yes.
and play with it.
Yeah.
Our
Much
spindle
safer.
wheels have just come back as well. haven't
Yes.
They were on loan. Where? Austria?
Austria, I
In
think.
an
yeah.
exhibition, yeah.
Cool.
Which is really cool, yeah. So, I mean, we can send them out in places who will display them for us, which is really nice. It means just more people can see them, which I think is important to share our collection and our story and get it as far across the world as possible. So it's nice that they were off in Austria.
On a little trip.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to
Holiday.
Austria.
Yeah.
I bet they didn't get to see a lot of it. Do you know what I mean?
No,
Like, they were taken
yeah.
around going, look at these lovely things. No, I think was it Maureen and Jason did like a textile, like a piece of textile, and then they sent spindle whirls and then some like a piece like spun thread. It was for an X-Arc
Yes, it was very
exhibition. So it was like all different museums from around Europe had sent in something to put on display, and then it was in this huge, super modern museum, which is slightly different to our wooden one.
Our little shed that we call home.
Yeah. I think that's nice as well, because if the more accessible the collections are, more that people like Jason Moran can come in and do all this experimental archaeology and things like that, which is really nice. Yeah.
So the goal then with the collection is that it's not all sort of locked behind glass, but that people can either access it when it's on tour itself, or they can come in and have a look at it.
Exactly, yeah, that is the goal. Just to make it as accessible as possible. We could get it online as well, so you could have an online catalogue. Where public can look at it, things like that, which would be really nice too. And research, again, the collection's not all that well studied at the moment, so the plan is to get as many people in as possible to tell me all about it, which is nice. So again, if you get that online, like in a bigger, better museum as well, like it'll be easier for people to come up and look at these things, and they'll know it's here, so that would be really nice.
Is there plans to get that all online? Is that something that's in the works, or is it already out there?
I would like to.
Where?
I am working on it. So yeah, hopefully soon. It'll be up online for people to have a look through, but it is in the process of happening. So
definitely something we're aiming towards to make it an accessible collection as well as an accessible museum.
So as soon as that's available,
yes,
we'll link it somewhere.
Chantal will post all
I
over
will
social media.
market the hell out of it.
It will be everywhere.
That's my job.
Little bits of pot will just saturate Google. Sponsored ad. And it's just a bit of wood from the Crannog.
Just a single pottery shirt.
People all over the world will know exactly what a Crannog is, whether they like it or
As
not.
they should,
We even get people like saying, through doing the activities outside as well, you know, like when people are wood turning and they go, like, my granddad wood turned, like these marks mean this. Or I think the fact that we know that we had a waster in the collection, that came from working with a wood turner, as far as I'm aware. So it's like talking to people outside and engaging the fact that you see it in a museum and then you go out and you make it or you do it or you play with it or whatever. And there's kind of that, like the quernstone, which is there, then going outside and grinding on a quernstone that isn't a real archaeological artifact. You can grind on it, but then it's sort of like it enhances it, makes it more memorable. So.
Yeah, I like that as well. I mean, a lot of people come in and they find it really relatable, I guess, because a lot of the collection you'll recognise, the skills and things from today, like the lyre bridge. People still play musical instruments. The textiles, so weaving, that happens still today. I mean, drop spinning is not so common, but people still do.
Maureen's a big spinner.
Apart from Maureen.
I learned it off YouTube, so there are people out
there are.
But they'll still come in and say they crochet or they knit and things like that. So it's just different ways of doing things that they did in the Iron Age, which is really nice as well. But yeah, you're right, a lot of wood turners come in and say they work with wood and things like that.
Pottery people,
ceramicists. Lots of
pottery
ceramicists.
people. I talk a lot about the plough when I'm finishing my tour in here and look at the plough because it was where it was found, like in the doorway, and it's an unusual thing. Well, it's not unusual to find it in a doorway because they found, I think, another Crannog in the southwest, wasn't it? Not Blacklock, the other one. It might be Blacklock Crannog. Anyway. But they have a plough under their doorway as well, so it obviously wasn't like that unusual in the Iron Age. But then we start talking about like doorways and doorway traditions, and then in Scotland there's that big tradition of doing the first footing at New Year, where you go over the doorway and then come back over the doorway, or you bring in whiskey or all those things, or you carry your bride over the doorway, or like, and then that seems to be a big conversation starter because like people from all over the world seem to have something to do with doors. Like, I've had people come in and say that they put things under the doorway, like hang things above the door. Or do they have anything in Belgium when they do anything with doors?
Don't know.
I don't know. Just chocolate smeared.
Just a little.
Yeah, Brussels sprouts.
In a wreath.
Yeah, but there's things that like you can make parallels from like the past to today. And I think the doorway traditions have gone on since now. At least 2,500 years in different forms, like continuously, and that's quite a cool thing to think about. 83 grandmas ago.
83 grandmas.
Yeah,
that's how we count time.
It's grandmas.
5 grandmas. Yeah,
no, I think that's really nice too, that people can, because it's like a household collection rather than anything like, I don't know, like royal families and stuff, like burials. A lot of people don't really connect to this, but with our collection they can, because it's household is recognisable, which is just lovely.
Yeah.
So are you an Iron Age expert? Is that why you're here?
No. I'm fairly new to the Iron Age.
You're new? Oh,
I am,
lovely.
yes. No, so I am here because I know how to look after the collections, like I mentioned before. There's a lot to it. So the environment especially is really important. Things like relative humidity, the temperature, all has to be controlled. The way you display things, like how you mount them, different things like that. That is what I learned at uni. So the Iron Age stuff is I'm learning now as I go along. Yeah.
That's the good thing, I think, sometimes is you're always learning as well. So like if this whole museum was just run by Iron Age experts, we'd have a very niche like interest group. Yes. And also like there is a challenge with wood, especially I think that these objects were not designed to last forever, and so they've been under the water until sort of 30-40 years ago, and then they come out and now it's like they want to rot and they want to decompose, and there is that challenge of how do you make something that's never designed to last forever last as long as possible.
Yes, that has been the most challenging part so far. I really picked a tricky
question. So you should go with just bits of rock, like that's an easy job.
Much nicer.
Is this your first collection that you're in charge
so
of?
this is my first collection I'm in charge of, which is really exciting. My first professional job, so
amazing.
Yes.
How did you celebrate when you found out you were getting the job? Did you have a celebration, or did you just go, job done, get the Iron Age textbooks out? What is a crannog?
What is a crannog? No, I don't think we did much. I think me and my mum were doing takeout bottle prosecco.
What else do you need?
Best way to celebrate, my opinion.
Rachel and Jess, what about your background? Whoever wants to go first, how have you guys found yourself?
So I was actually a volunteer here first, which you were as well.
I was also volunteering.
Oh, amazing. Maureen is a volunteer, who we've been mentioning.
Currently next director of social media.
Maureen.
She's kind of all
Dylan was a volunteer as well, who I just did a podcast episode with.
I was a volunteer.
Rich was a volunteer.
Rich was a volunteer.
You'd be hard pressed to find someone who wasn't a volunteer.
It's the apprentices, isn't it? Jenny didn't. She interviewed for a job, and she brought along a rock that was her favourite. We do a very informal interview process, and it was one of the questions was, if you could be an object, what object would you be? She had a great answer. It was like a particular rock that she's had since she was a kid, which was very, very cool. And she's talked about on tours as well. And then I think Jill, who runs our shop, when she interviewed, her object, she was like this. She was so quick. I remember being told about this. She apparently do it. If you could be any object in the world, in a museum, what object would you be? And she just went, sunshine. She knows. She is sunshine. Yes, I thought that was really great.
What objects?
That's
if
what
any of you guys were asked, what objects?
I don't think you guys have been asked, have you?
In the museum or overall? No.
And no, in your life. Like if you're a museum, you're a museum object.
Yeah.
Any object.
I don't feel like I know enough museums to be able to choose.
Just be any object.
Any object.
Sunshine has never been in a museum, I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, it's in the Scottish Crannog Centre.
You can't go in that room because you'll be blinded.
You're light. I have to think about that. What would you be?
We were talking about this. So I originally picked slippers. Because slippers are comfortable. They make you feel homey. You put them on after a long hard day, but also you can go out and put the bins on. I don't know, I just have but I've changed it to a backpack, because I think you can put lots of things in, and sometimes you have to take in lots of things, but you also have to be able to learn to take things out, and that's what I'm doing. I'm getting good at. I'm getting better at. It's like taking the things out again, and I think backpack you can kind of go anywhere and do anything.
That's true.
Yeah, I kind of like the idea of being a backpack.
The object that I was asked and I picked was a radio.
Yeah, you are turn it right
I
up.
was like, oh my god, I've never been asked this question before. I really need this job. I really need some money to put my rent in. How am I going to answer this question and get the job? I went, radio.
I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, very good answer. They were like, why? I went, I like talking and I like a good sing song.
That's so true. Yeah.
Well, I got hired. So.
You get news out there. You get all that there. This podcast.
Born to communicate.
Yeah.
What a skill. What an importance.
Yeah.
You know. I think I said I'd be like a soup pot.
Oh,
Like a family soup
Yeah,
pot.
everybody you give people.
Yeah, but
Like,
now I'm
give out to
thinking
people. I like that.
I would be like a dragon, but like a plushy dragon.
Jellycat dragon.
Jellycat dragon.
Yeah.
Jellycat dragon.
An expensive
Not
dragon. I am genuinely saving up for the green one.
The sapphire dragon.
Yeah, it's the water.
So
it's the
beautiful.
watermill. No, the windows in town. Off topic. Sorry.
It's okay.
What would you be, Amy?
I remember I got asked this. I think it was a women's age
Oh, did you do a workshop thing?
workshop.
Yeah,
I
that's a good
think,
question.
yes. I'm pretty sure I said I'd be a shell. A seashell.
Oh.
I don't have a deep reasoning. Just because I've always lived next to the beach, so I feel like
Yeah,
that's where I like
seashells
being
are-
inspired by the sea.
Everyone loves seashells.
Yes. So
You're
They're
prettier on the
resilient.
inside than the outside. I'm joking. Chantel's horrified.
Chantel's
That's
face
not
right
true.
now.
Look at Amy, she's gorgeous.
What you don't know is that Rachel's also HR.
Yeah, darling. If you want to make a complaint to me later.
yeah, I might do.
Right.
Send an email.
So we've talked about the collection here.
We should do this as just
Pivoting
one thing.
back.
Get everybody in and
Yeah.
just do their objects.
Yeah. It would be nice to talk about our favourite
yeah.
objects.
Mm.
Talk about our collection here.
Mhm.
If you could collect anything, what would it be?
Oh.
I could collect anything. That is a
With
really
your
hard question.
background as a curator, knowing what you know now about caring for a collection, about spreading information,
Plastics, non-biodegradable. No, I'm joking.
Not wood.
not wood.
Anything but wood.
Have you got something you've collected, like as a kid or
First
growing
of all,
up?
yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a good question.
Yeah, I think I collected a whole lot of books.
But,
So I
yeah, that's a
collected
good
them.
one.
My
Yeah.
little sister has a 50p coin collection.
What a smart
That's
collection
a
to
good
have.
collecting money. Is an excellent idea.
I remember we got asked at uni to talk about a collection we'd collected. That was like one of our lectures, and I used her collection.
Oh, no.
50p's. She's going to hate me for telling everyone that, but it's fine.
Well, Chantel revealed that I have a collection last night because
What do you
she
collect?
said I collect random jars with lids.
That's
And-
so useful though.
I hadn't realised, but I kind of do because I wash them out and then I don't recycle them because I think, well, I could use that.
Yeah.
And then the cupboard is gradually filling with random containers. Really, really odd.
I do actually collect. I collect. Do you know cherished teddies? I collected those when I was little. I have like shelves full of them. They're just like little ornaments and teddy bears.
Oh. I have lots.
feel
I had
like-
lots of teddies. I mean, like, that was a
Yeah.
collection we're having to get rid
I feel like my
Give
collection
away.
of little ornaments is much easier to maintain than all the wood in this
Yeah.
collection. So
of. I just realised I'm getting really boring with old Amy. I now collect jam jars.
That's a bit
And when you said
grandmotherly.
lots of ornaments, I was like, dusting.
I do love a good ornament.
yeah.
Chantel collects plants. You've got
And
quite a
DVDs.
plant collection and
Oh,
DVDs.
yes.
Yes.
You need to keep physical media going.
So true.
What
So
about you,
true.
Jess? You've got a hat. Is it a hat collection, please?
It's not a hat collection. It could be. I might
Yeah.
start. I think I've
I think Dylan's got a hat collection.
not deliberately. I seem to have been given a lot of like animal jawbones.
Yeah.
Just every time someone
Yeah.
sees when they pick it up for me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Amy, who I happen to room with.
So Jess and I live together, and when you walk in our flat, there's just like a nice sheep skull.
Yeah, it's got a little moustache.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know what housewarming. I have literally been trying to think of a housewarming present for you guys. We were in Dobbies and I was like, do I get them some like what was like the what are they like mats, table mats,
Oh,
made of
yeah.
like grass. And I was like, do I get them these? And Rich was like, no. they're really rubbish. And I was like, oh, I'll get you a school. That's
Yeah.
Oh,
that'll
thanks,
do.
Rach.
Yes,
Never
that's
set
it.
out to collect these, and yet here I
Yeah,
am.
you can tell we're archaeologists with our animal bones and our like archaeology
Yes.
treasures on our coffee table.
Well, we've got Antiquity Corner. That's true. We have a corner in the lounge which is just old stuff that we keep adding to.
Oh, I
it's
love
like,
that.
We've got a little bit of the Discovery, the ship, when they were
Oh,
repaired.
amazing.
They come and sold 50p, got a little bit weird. We've got a plate that's been turned out of one of the pews in one of the cathedrals in Glasgow when all the pews were taken out. This guy was making things. We've got a Roman amphora, which is not Roman. We don't know where it's come from.
It's like the
It was
massive
given to-
pot.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
about as big as an 8-year-old child.
Yes,
It's
yes,
huge.
it's huge. It could
It's just
genuinely
in
kill
her
an
living
8-year-old
room.
child.
She decorates it with lights at Christmas.
Yeah, we do with
Yeah,
lights. It's
very
like
nice.
a little
Part of the
Christmas
family.
tree.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we need a massive amphora.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
We just make one and fire it in huge pits.
Instead of making a replica pot, I'll just make them
Just
make
make
one
a
for our
massive
family.
pot, yeah. I can just sit in it. Quiet time. Self-care. Right. We've been given the signal.
Yeah.
To wrap this right up.
We're never going to be allowed on a podcast.
Yeah. Like just coffee time podcast. Like we're actually talking about
My
it.
career
Put
is
the microphone in the room and then I'll just leave.
my
Yep.
career as co-host has been
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
short-lived.
Yes. No, I think your hosting is excellent. You were
thank
asking good
you.
questions.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Jess.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been absolutely lovely talking to you, as always. Thank you so much for Chantel for being our overall tech media superstar. And thank you so much for joining us. This has been an episode of the Crannog Cast.
Woo woo.